After 20 years of silence, my son invited me to Christmas, 'cause I got rich. Asterisk, my son hadn't spoken to me in 20 years. Not a phone call, not a letter, not even a postcard. Just silence. 20 birthdays missed. 20 Christmases passed. 2 decades of wondering what I did so wrong that the boy I raised, the one I carried on my shoulders, who once ran into my arms screaming, "Daddy," could erase me from his life like I never existed. I had accepted the pain a long time ago. Learned to live with it like a dull ache in the chest that you forget is even there until someone pokes it. And then, one winter afternoon, out of nowhere, I get a message. "Hey, it's Jason, your son. I'd like to invite you to Christmas this year. It's been a while." No apology, no explanation. Just a few sterile words that stabbed me harder than silence ever did. And here's the kicker. He didn't just reach out because he missed me. No, it turns out someone told him what the lottery told me, that I was suddenly, unexpectedly, a millionaire. $22 million richer overnight. And just like that, the son who vanished into thin air, wanted me back for Christmas. I wish I could say I was surprised. But in that moment, holding my phone with trembling fingers, heart pounding, like it did the day he left at 18 screaming he never wanted to see me again, I wasn't surprised. I was numb because I already knew this wasn't about love. This wasn't about family. This was about money. But I accepted the invitation anyway, not out of hope, not out of desperation, but because I needed to look into his eyes and see who he'd become. Because even after all that time, part of me still wanted to believe he was my son, that he was still in there somewhere beneath the grown man I no longer knew. So I drove to his house in Portland on Christmas Eve, dressed in my best coat, heart armored in caution, and a small gift in my pocket just in case I was wrong. His home was beautiful. A white colonial with navy shutters, manicured lawn, a massive Christmas tree glowing through the window. A picture-perfect scene. The kind of house we used to walk by when he was little and dream about. I used to say, maybe someday, and he'd smile, believing me. He always believed in me until the day he didn't. When he opened the door, I barely recognized him. He looked like me but colder, more polished. He gave me a tight smile, no hug, and said, "Glad you could make it." I wanted to say, "It's good to see you," but the words caught in my throat. Inside, everything was decorated with taste. His wife Elise greeted me like a receptionist, formal, distant, and then I saw them. 2 kids peeked from behind the banister. My grandchildren. They looked at me like they were seeing a ghost. Jason called out, "Kids, this is your grandpa." He said it like he wasn't sure whether the words still fit. I smiled. I wanted to cry. They approached slowly, politely, clearly coached. I knelt down and said, "Hi, I'm Bob." They nodded and retreated. I had missed their whole lives. Not even a picture frame on the wall had my face in it. I wasn't erased. I was never included. Dinner was perfect. The roast, the wine, the small talk. Too perfect. Jason talked about his job in finance. Elise talked about PTA meetings. And I sat there like a guest on a talk show where no one remembered why I'd been invited. No one asked about my life, my business, my struggles, my win. Until Elise, with that smooth smile, said so. "We heard you've come into some money." I chuckled lightly, trying not to show my cards. "Yeah, a little surprise." Jason shifted, didn't say a word. She leaned in. "That must be exciting." "Have you made any plans for it?" I shrugged. Still deciding. The room went quiet. Suddenly, the warmth in their eyes felt like fluorescent, light, bright, artificial, cold. After dessert, Jason walked me to the door. I stood there, gift still in my pocket, debating whether to give it to him. But then he said, "Thanks for coming." Just that. like I'd dropped by a neighbor's potluck. I said, "You know, you didn't ask me how I've been. You didn't ask what my life's been like, what I've lost, what I've learned." He looked uncomfortable. I thought it'd be easier to keep it light. I looked him in the eyes. Easier for who? He had no answer. And then he said the thing that changed everything. "Look, I invited you, didn't I?" That was the moment I knew EY wasn't a father being welcomed home. I was a wallet with legs. I left without giving the gift. Back in my hotel room, I opened it. It was a photo. Jason and I at a fishing lake when he was 10. I had kept it. For 20 years, he didn't deserve it now. The next day, Christmas morning, I called my lawyer. I told him to draft a new will. Everything would go to charity and 2 old friends who stood by me when I had nothing. Jason would get one thing a letter. A week later, Jason called. For the first time in 2 decades, he called. "Hey, Dad, I've been thinking. Maybe we could catch up sometime. Maybe grab coffee." I smiled. "Sure, let's do that." We never did. But I kept the door open not for him, but for myself. To know I could forgive, but not forget. To know that sometimes the richest part of life isn't measured in dollars or gifts under a tree, but in the peace that comes from letting go. My son didn't talk to me for 20 years. But when I got rich, he invited me to Christmas, and I showed up not for him. For me,